Somebody's got to be accountable. And the last thing I'll say on it is I got a whole damn stable full of guys that throw 98 miles an hour, period.
Man, oh man. Now, that was an exciting comment from Kevin Cash. That was back on September 1st when we were playing the Yankee Stadium, and Aroldis Chapman had thrown just behind Mike Rossall's head. But you know what happened, of course? This team was already strong. It was growing. But that, I think, quote from Kevin Cash really ignited and charged the team even more. It certainly did the fan base. Welcome. I'm Mark Corbett. You're listening to Baseball Biz, and here I am today with none other than Mr. Brandon Noe. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm fantastic, and I'm even more fired up because I got the words from my manager of the year, Kevin Cash.
That's right. I mean, I'll absolutely love it. This man is amazing to me. There's no doubt what he brings to the table every day, and he's certainly excited at this team that we've had. What an exciting season. This special edition of Baseball Biz is to celebrate the Rays winning the AL Division East, and they've just been working hard at it. The Rays have always been looked at as, yeah, someday they might do fine with that. But this year, a lot of naysayers have had to kind of, chew their own gum and swallow it because they've done it, man. They've won the AL East outright. Didn't have to worry about the Yankees losing one more game. They did it outright. Outstanding, and nothing but fantastic things to look forward to.
Yeah, and with all the like adversity and effects they've had to go through this year, there's the constant payroll thing that we talk about every year. Pretty much being a dead horse there, but all the injuries and lineup combinations they've had to throw out there, it's amazing.
I've been dumbfounded. What can I tell you? But they have done an excellent job. It's like a lot of things. You see what happens between the seasons, and you sit down there and say, oh my gosh, they lost Jesus Aguilar. Oh my gosh, they lost d'Arnaud. What are they going to do next year? How can they possibly even have a team? But this year's team has been just as exciting and maybe just as powerful as what we had last year, which I don't think anybody really anticipated.
No, I didn't. I was really worried, not only when we lost d'Arnaud, but when they traded Tommy Pham away. That was the big one for me, because he was such a big piece last year, both on the field and in the dugout. I thought maybe losing someone of his stature could have an adverse effect, but clearly maybe it didn't.
Well, I'd wondered about that too, because Tommy Pham had an energy and an intensity, perhaps even more so. He demanded a lot of himself, and he let his teammates, he expected that of them too. I thought, well, what are we going to do with that? You're right. With Tommy, without d'Arnaud, it's – but, boy, did we come through. I should say the Rays really came through. Let's take a step back and say where we are right now, Brandon. As far as the standings and the winning percentages, the Rays are now at 649.
Yes, they're at 649. That's pretty far away the best in the AL. Not like a huge margin, but about 30-point difference between second place Minnesota.
Absolutely. Because the Twins are 614, and then if you look through the West, I think the Athletics are 607. So there is some difference there. Now, I want to remind folks, we're recording this on Friday just before there's only 3 games left to the regular season for the Rays. And Charlie Morton will be taking the mound tonight. Oh, gosh. You look at the players we have. People like Charlie have made such a big difference in this team. If you look at our pitchers and the lineup, it's been amazing between the people who are starting and the people who are relieving and closing the deals. It's been fantastic. I think we've had like 11 saves, 11 different pitchers with saves this year. Is that right?
Yeah, at least. I've seen at least 10 pitchers at one point come in. I can double check that. Let's see. 12 different pitchers have been out there to save at least one game.
12 different pitchers. Woof. So, that's killer. Take a look at who we have on the field most days right now, too. You see Cash will mix up the lineup a little bit, but one player, I think, time and again, who invigorates the team and who has been successful overall, and that is Mr. Willy Adames, number 1. He's there.
Yeah, Adames has been a guy who, it's weird. When he plays at home and on the road, he's like a completely different player. When he's playing at home, it's like, oh, get this guy out of the lineup. He can't do anything right. And then he goes on the road, and he's a beast. If he could do that on the road and at home, he'd be arguably, in my opinion, one of the best players in baseball.
Yeah, I think so too as well. I mean, if you look at who else we got out there, you look at Brandon Lau, and and Nate Lowe, but it's the new guys we brought in this year too, as far as like Yoshi and Susugo, Hunter Renfroe, Kevin Smith, Randy Azarino. I never say Randy's name. Randy, I apologize. It's Azarino. But anyway, he has been in such an impact, and they're exciting, and watching Randy out there and some of the other ones as far as stealing bases, man, that's Margot does that too. And you see that another new guy, and you see these fellas out there, and they've just built that excitement. It's great to see them win, but it's even, fantastic to see them play the way they're doing. And then you've got your guys who are an institution. You have your Joey Wendell, you have him out there. You got KK still out there in center field. It's just been fantastic. And of course, Adamas and Brandon have really kind of established themselves there as well.
Yeah, and a couple of things is like, we said this earlier on the last show, the Rays are like the ultimate team, sum of their parts. They all work together. They don't rely on just one guy to go out there and win them a game. They all rely on pitching. They'll do their part to give the offense enough to go out there and score and win games. Or the offense will go out there and give the pitching staff enough support to where they don't have to worry as much. So they're really good at, being the ultimate team and coming together instead of just relying on a guy or two.
That's true. I mean, because if somebody has been injured, there's so many other teams out there who complain, well, we haven't done well this year because, we got some stars that are injured that we're paying millions and millions and millions of dollars to. I said, yeah, well, I'm sorry, and I don't want to see anybody injured. But if you're dependent on 2, 3, even 4 players, then there's an issue. You have to have depth, the depth that the Rays have had, the depth that they've developed. And I want to salute to, Kyle Snyder and Chad Mottola for what they've done as far as pitching and batting, and the other coaches as well, who I don't know their names. But the thing of it is, they've built an energy. They've done a lot of player development. And that is, we're seeing the results of that. That's what's happened, why we have the 649 for the winning average this year.
Yeah, they've really done a good job of guys that have come up, even just for short stints because of injuries. You can put them out there and not be like, oh, God, what's this guy going to do? It may not be the prettiest, but they'll ultimately end up getting the job done. And as you were saying earlier about depth, I have a couple of fun facts about the Rays and how many different players they've used this year, if you'd like to hear those.
Do share.
This comes from Jason Stark of The Athletic. He said that they have had 17 different players start at least 10 games, 11 different players play multiple positions, and they've never started any combination of players in the same spots on the diamonds in more than 2 games.
Oh, my gosh. If there's a secret sauce, the other teams are going to have a hard time figuring it out, what that sauce is going to look like every day.
Yeah, it's always nice to be guessing who's going to be out there. You can put all lefties out there.
Kevin Cash has the flexibility with the talent that he has on board. And I'll say it again, I'm just so happy for him. It's been an amazing year thus far, and I can't wait to see how it goes in the postseason. We still have 3 games ahead of us here with the Phillies. We have all those at home. And maybe Adamas will sleep at a hotel while he's here. I don't know, to see if he can get that on-road experience.
Hey, I'll pay for it if he performs in the wild card.
To see these guys celebrate, it's difficult to celebrate this year with COVID-19, but it was nice after the game. You'd see them out there; they were popping streamers, silly string, and all this around one another to get something because they weren't allowed to have a room full of in the locker room of champagne pouring on one another, etc. But they seem to have a good time of it, and I think a certain Cuban on the team brought some cigars to the dugout after the game. They all sat there, I think, smoking some of those too. So I'm not sure about the COVID-19 as far as all protocols being met, but I was glad to see them celebrate. And did you see that video of them doing like a dance-off out in the streets? That was hilarious.
I know having a delayed flight sucks. I've never had one, thankfully, because I never fly. What better way to have a delayed flight than a dance-off in front of Citi Field at like 1 or 2 in the morning after you just clinched a division and had a bunch of cigars.
Oh, but I'm glad our boys had a day off, but man, it was good to see them be able to cut loose a little bit and have some fun, still out there. It was, I don't know, brother. I can't tell you how happy I am, how excited I am. And I want to send a thank you also to a lot of the folks who entertain us watching and listening to this. I mean, you listen to Andy Freed and Dave Wills and, of course, Neil Solons on radio, and they do a fantastic job to keep us, right there in the stadium as far as I'm concerned. And, of course, Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson and, all the rest of that gang as well. It is an exciting season. It will continue to be so. We're too excited not just to let this pass. I mean, you and I talk baseball biz most of the time, and we're talking a big picture of the whole league. I like, let's face it, you and I both know our prejudice here, and we know we have that bias about the Rays, and we talk about it a little bit during the regular show, but we needed this today to celebrate it. We need to let everybody know how exciting it is. And I can't thank Kevin Cash and that team enough. The entertainment, the excitement, the joy that they're bringing to myself and several other Rays fans during this season in difficult times.
Yeah, it's been a rough year so far. That's no secret. But maybe this is the reward that we're getting, not just as sports fans with all these events going on at once, but here in our hometown, our own biases get to leak in because our teams are doing really good. And I got the playoff beard going for hockey playoffs. And it's about time for that to go away. Now I can do playoff beard for baseball. I mean, that's a good problem to have.
It is. I saw somebody texting or something on Twitter the other day, and they were saying, Tampa, title town.
I've heard that. I've heard Tampa Bay.
I like that one.
I'm fine with it. I've never had this much sports success going on at once in a town. It's awesome.
It's fantastic. And I love all the sour apples that come out with this too. So you see somebody really proud of the team, and you'll see 5 or 6, 7 other comments beneath it say, well, you guys this, that, and the other. And, oh, yeah, we'll just be happy with this or a 60 game. You know what? I am happy. I'm freaking ecstatic. So I don't know. I don't have much more to say except thank you for this season to Kevin and the boys.
Yeah, they've gone beyond what I thought they would do. I thought they would be a playoff team, but, being number 1 in the AL, I didn't think that would happen. It happened in my dreams. It's realistic now. Who knows where it's going to go from here?
I'm just, like I said, I'm crazy about it. So I just want to say thank Kevin and all the rest of them for doing this and bringing this kind of excitement to us. Well, Brandon Noway, once again, has brought his prognostications and the luminosity to everything going on with baseball and certainly with the Rays. And the nice thing is we're just reporting now on success today. We're not really even doing prognostications.
I like reporting on success.
That's right. So thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it, buddy. This has been an exciting time. It's an exciting time for everybody who's a Rays fan. And tonight, Charlie Morton takes the mound against the Phillies here in Tampa Bay. And we see 3 more games. Then we get to see our Rays, the AL East Division winners, go ahead and start into the postseason. So thank you, everybody. And we're going to part here today, Brandon, with the kind words of Mr. Kevin Cash.
Somebody's got to be accountable. And the last thing I'll say on it is I got a whole damn stable full of guys that throw 98 miles an hour, period.
Special thanks also to Scott Holmes providing Stomps and Claps.